bhagava araham samma sambuddho swagato yena bhagavata dhammo supatipanno yassa bhagavato savaka sambho Dhammayam bhagavanta sadhamam sasangham ime sagare yadavaraham parupite abhipujayama sadhuno bhakti bhagava sujira varinimutopi pachima janatanuga bhamanasa ime sakare dukatapanaka Rampute patikannatu amma kandi garata hitaya sukaya arang sama sambuddho bhagava buddham bhagavantang abhivadi Smagatu bhagavata dhammo Dhamman vasami Supatipanu bhagavato savaka sambho Sangham dhamani Namayam buddhasa bhagavato bhagavantanamatharangaro masi Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa So very nice, very good to see everyone again. So please now, everyone here, everyone online, sit up well. Good straight back, body and mind alert. And cameras on, please. And you close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, you leave behind all that you've been doing and thinking about. You remind yourselves that past is past. Future is still in the future. So all we ever really have is now. Try now to keep your mind, keep your attention, at least while we're together this evening, here and now. And we'll commence as usual by bringing to mind the Buddha, recollecting his perfect mind, a mind that was absolutely clear of any kind of defilement or corruption, and even far away, far distant from anything of that kind. a mind too of infinite compassion, a truly extraordinary and wonderful being, perfect in knowledge and conduct. Now remember, whenever you happen to think of the Buddha or to see a Buddha Rupa or a picture of the Buddha, be reminded and inspired to do what you can to cleanse your mind too of all greed, hatred, and delusion. And remember that as doing yourselves an enormous favor, a great kindness. And so remember to be kind to yourself. This practice is not always easy, and it will, from time to time, reveal areas of your being that you're not too happy with. So remember, be kind to yourself. You're not perfect yet. And be caring of yourself. And never forget your good qualities. Rejoice in your merits. And as the Buddha said, do them again and again. And accept things as they are. When you accept things, you have neither desire for them or aversion to them. Your mind is steady and equanimous. Now we must begin by reminding ourselves of the nature of our human condition. Aging. We're all getting older and older. And it just keeps on. We keep on getting older. And then at almost any time we can become unwell. And it's really doubtful whether we're ever really in perfect health. And then inevitably, assuredly, one day we will die. None of us are going to escape that one. Aging, sickness, and death. This is hardly a satisfactory existence, really and truly. So what is this all about? Why are we going through this? What don't we understand? Well, one message from these three, and particularly the third, is that our time and opportunities are passing. So if we're going to find out and understand ourselves, and ultimately to free ourselves from our sense of suffering, then we'd better get a move on. So, at least for this evening, determine to use your time to the best of your ability. Bring a little urgency into what you're doing. Now, sitting up well, gather your mind, establish mindfulness, be mindful of just what you're doing. And what is it that you're doing? You're sitting and you're breathing. And perhaps you're also thinking and wondering, and try to let that go and bring your full attention to sitting and breathing. And make that breathing. Be mindful and aware now. Each time you breathe in, maintain your mindfulness from the beginning through the middle to the end of that in-breath. Then if there's an interval, perhaps wait. And then as you begin to breathe out, again be mindful and aware of breathing out through the beginning, the middle, and to the end. And try to maintain that now, breath after breath after breath. And keep the connection from the end of one breath to the beginning of the next. Now remember to try to be mindful at all times. So if by any chance something occurs to interrupt your mindfulness of the breath, or you find your mind wandering and thinking and remembering and imagining, dreaming, as soon as you notice, establish your mindfulness again. And be mindful of whatever it is you're doing, whether you're thinking or dreaming, or listening to some sound or other, some bird, or know whatever is happening, whatever you're experiencing, and let it go. And find the breath again. And again, establish mindfulness of each in-breath and each out-breath. And keep your mind concentrated just on that. So please maintain your very still and mindful sitting. But during the next few minutes, while I'm talking, try to just listen. Buddhism has a reputation, generally speaking, for being a truly peaceful teaching. Although occasionally people point out that Buddhist countries do have armies and do go to war and all that. And I'm afraid that's true. But none of those actions are supported by Buddhist teachings. On the contrary. So we have to say that although the country might be known as a Buddhist country, the government certainly isn't conducting its affairs in a Buddhist manner. Another reputation that Buddhism has is as a teaching that you can not just question, but that you need to be able to prove for yourself. It's open to what is sometimes described as free inquiry. Now, this is only partly true. This reputation is based mostly on a certain piece of advice that the Buddha gave to a group of people who he didn't know and who didn't know him, except he had a reputation and they understood that he was someone to be relied upon, someone rather special. And so when he was wandering in their part of the world, they took the opportunity to come and see him and put to him a difficulty they had. Basically, they were getting a bit fed up with various religious teachers, holy men and ascetics and whatnot, coming their way and telling them various things which didn't agree with what others had told them, but which they claimed was correct. And they rather disparaged the ideas and views of others. And they were becoming rather muddled by all of this, and a bit, as I said, fed up with it all. And so they went to the Buddha and they said, what are we supposed to make of all this? And the Buddha said something along these lines, that you should know for yourself what is harmful, what is inclined to make you unhappy, what is unskillful, what causes suffering, what harms people. And when you know that, you leave it alone. And then the Buddha went on to say, to ask them really what they thought about greed, hatred, and delusion. When you have greed or desire, hatred or aversion, and you're confused, does this help you? Does this bring happiness to you or harm? And of course, the answer has to be that it's harmful. Greed and hatred and delusion encourage people to take life, to steal from others, to get involved in various kinds of sexual abuse and misconduct, to tell lies and to encourage other people to do all of these things. So clearly, greed, hatred, and delusion are not a good thing at all. But if you can abandon these three, if you can overcome them, if you can act in an entirely different way, so your mind is free of greed, free of hate and anger, free of delusion, then clearly this is to your benefit and to the benefit of everyone else, and there will be no taking of life, no stealing from others, no sexual abuse and misconduct, no lying and deceiving. And you won't be inclined to encourage others to do any of these unskillful things. On the contrary. The abandonment of greed, hatred, and delusion is for your benefit and happiness. Never mind what people say, what ancient texts and all the rest of it have to say. If whatever it is causing unhappiness and trouble, get rid of it and do your best to abandon these three poisons, as they're known. And if you can manage that, if you can live without these three, then, as the Buddha said, then you will be spreading throughout the world in all directions. Loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity, acceptance. So this was the Buddha's advice. It wasn't to just insist that whatever is taught, you must prove everything. Nor was it to suggest that you can kind of pick and choose and decide what you will practice and what you won't all the time. You have to understand that practicing the Buddha Dhamma is like taking medicine. And sometimes, well, you are not quite sure what is good for you. If you only take what you like, you may not be doing yourself much benefit. Sometimes, I'm afraid, it's a bitter medicine. And so we do need the help and the advice of teachers and others, on occasions at least. And when we get to know ourselves better, then we will know really what we need to do and what is good for us, and how we should be doing our best to overcome these tendencies towards greed, hatred, and delusion. These three are known as the three poisons. They are the basic defilements. They're what spoil the minds of all of us. They are the default positions of our mind. So we really have to be careful And we can see around us, we see all kinds of things which ideas and demonstrations and things which are very well intentioned, but inevitably, one or other of these three, either greed or aversion, spoils it. And behind greed and aversion, of course, is always delusion, confusion, not seeing things as they really are. If only we can develop ourselves and really wake up to the true nature of things, then these three disappear. And so that's why we practice and we do our best to train our minds to see things as they are, not as we've been taught to believe they might be. We challenge everything, really, when we practice the Buddha Dhamma, all that we've known. It's a challenging practice, and sometimes not a comfortable one because of that, but necessary for us to be able to abandon what is unskillful and cultivate what is skillful and good and conducive to happiness, real happiness. So remember those standards that the Buddha put. Judge things by that standard. Is this skillful? Is this conducive to the good? Does this make people really happy? Or is it unskillful, harmful? Does it lead to unhappiness, to harm? Judge things, ideas and stuff by those standards and do your best to lead an upright and good life and ultimately to put aside those poisons. They're called poisons. No one takes poison. If food doesn't agree with you, you avoid it. If things upset you, normally you would avoid them. You don't want to be unhappy. So why do you allow greed, hatred, and delusion to remain a part of your life? Do your best to give them up. Abandon them completely. Cut them off so they can't grow again. That's what this practice is designed to do. So please, do your very best to lead a moral and virtuous life and to cultivate your mind and to free yourself from these unfortunate tendencies and be truly, really happy. And that's enough from me for tonight. So we'll sit for just a few moments longer. And during these closing moments, please concentrate your mind on loving kindness for yourself and for all beings everywhere. May I be well and happy. May all beings be well and happy. May you and all beings be well and happy. May you and all beings be free from all suffering. May you and all beings realize for yourselves the secure peace of Nibbana. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivadi Swakato Bhagavanta Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. So thank you all very much for coming. Very good to see you all. Have a good weekend, and I hope we'll meet again soon. Good night.